to another Anime Kingdom review. See by the title below, yes, this is on episode 13, the final and last episode of Katsugeki Touken Ranbu. And honestly, I gotta say, this was a really good episode for a finale. Like, there's a lot of times when I watch series and, the finale, it doesn't normally go as well as this one did. This one, I'm okay if there's not a second season. If there's a second season, sure, that would be awesome and everything. But the one thing that has plagued this series, not just in this episode, though it was a big thing in this episode, is the story. If they do have a second season, I would really want them to kind of focus on actually having a really good story, because honestly, one of the down points of this entire series was the story, in my opinion. I felt that it could have been done a lot better, and especially in this episode, the way they ended up having everything resolved, it kind of was just like everything, they just wanted a happy ending. And there's nothing wrong with a cliche happy ending and everything, because it did kind of end up ending cliche in a cliche way. But I gotta say that the whole thing with Horikawa being there for 3 years, he couldn't really do anything to change Hijikata's mind. I think he was going to probably sacrifice himself for Hijikata, but the thing that still got him, even after 3 years, I guess he couldn't change his mind still yet in any way. I'm not too sure what he was really doing, honestly. He was still stopping, of course, the Time Retrograde Army, as he had said, but it didn't really do anything to change the way Hijikata ends up feeling, and that's why he was still wavering in the episode, saying that he wasn't sure if Hijikata ends up being able to survive, will he continue as a warrior, or will he, change his life and live on instead of dying the way he does. But I don't see it happening, and I don't see it really changing. And the way that they had that story, as this was the main plot of the story, because like I said, one of the main reasons why I didn't care too much for some of the stuff in the series was, like, for at least half the season, I didn't even know what the story or the main plot was. It kind of was just like, here's a bunch of missions, here's a bunch of, there was some good character developments here and there, but there was no main storyline, there was no main plot to follow, and that's kind of why I wasn't as interested at times. Sure, like I said before, and especially with the second half of this episode, Ufotable does an amazing job at making it looks beautiful. The animation is always on point. The choreography, especially in the second half, was just plain amazing, seeing all of them be able to fight together and everything. And the music, as always, just complemented so well to make these scenes. Literally, those were the reasons why I love this series, was the action choreography, the whole, how beautiful the animation looks, and then of course the music complements it as well, just made these certain scenes just stand out so much that I was like really just enjoying it a lot. And the story, like I said, I'm not saying it was horrible, but it was much more of an average story, the way it started and the way it ended. And like I said before, the whole first half of the season, while it was, awesome looking and everything, it didn't really have like a main story or plot to follow, and that's why it was kind of not as interesting, at least in my opinion. Maybe, like I said before, I'm an anime watcher only, so I've never played the game, so maybe since you've played the game, you know some underlying things already, that it doesn't really matter as much, I guess. But I do see that there are a lot of people that have not really cared for this as well, because it hasn't adapted, from the game really well. And like I said before, I don't really know how that is. I'm not too sure how much of it has stayed true to the game and everything, so I can't really say from that standpoint. But overall, from an anime watcher only, I really felt that the story could have been done a lot better. And even the way it was resolved was, in the end, the only thing that Horikawa was able to do was to allow, the one thing that Izuno Kami had wanted, and that was to, of course, fight alongside, stay on that battlefield with Hijikata. But of course, he changes that, he stops it, he makes it so how, history is supposed to be. And in the end, they both, Hijikata and Izuno Kami, who are really alike, as we've seen before already, and both of them, Horikawa and himself, has stated that they pretty much resolved their doubts. And in the end, it's kind of seemed like Horikawa was like, well, that was everything I did, and it looks like it's all undone. Oh well, I guess that's too bad. And it was like there was no compromise, there was no Horikawa breaking down or anything of the sorts. It was kind of just seemed like Horikawa didn't even care, and it seemed so weird considering the fact that he felt so strongly about this, and he was willing to betray his partner, his pretty much in everything, and his new master to try and change all these stuff. And when it ends up not going his way, he's just like, oh well, I guess there's nothing else I can do, kind of thing. And it's like it didn't really matter. So like on that standpoint, I didn't really enjoy that part. But if you just look at it from, you know, finally seeing them be able to resolve their issues and everything, and history sticking to its course, and then of course, you know, in the end, Horikawa also coming back and sticking with, you know, the second unit as well, then of course, you know, it did a good job at least doing that. But like I said before, the story in my opinion could have been executed a lot better. And like I said, I'm not too sure if the game does a lot better of a job, but in the end, the story was definitely lackluster for this series and for this episode. But like I said, the second half is where it just, the highlights start coming in. Mikazuki looked awesome when he came in. Everyone fighting together was awesome. Seeing the different combat styles and seeing them work together was really cool. And overall, it just made for just the choreography, the music, the animation. It made for literally an amazing and beautiful ending final battle. And that honestly was really well done. And of course, the whole part with, you know, Izuno Kami and of course Horikawa rushing down and seeing their master die was a very emotional moment. The music did really well at that, and like I said, the animation was really well done, and just seeing Horikawa, you know, fall down crying and everything, it was a very emotional scene. They really did a good job at those points, you know. And the very ending, of course, it looks like everything's all well done. Sure, you know, Izuno Kami still has doubts and everything about how they are saving history and everything, but in the end, everything ended up being resolved. They were able to stick to and protect history. And overall, I thought it was a really well done, you know, a good finale to at least make you feel good about everything. And sure, it may be cliche at some point. Sure, it may just be like they wanted it to be a happy ending. But like I always say, sometimes, you know, there's nothing wrong with a happy ending. And overall, I was okay with how it ended up ending. And yeah, that's all I really got to say about this, guys. Let's talk about how I felt about the overall season. Like I said, the story was definitely its downfall, but in the end, I still give this anime a 7 out of 10 just because the story, it was, you know, not as amazing, but it was average. It was still enjoyable at certain points. I love the character interactions and the character development that were thrown in here. Sure, some of the development were kind of just thrown to the side with like Horikawa and everything, but I did love those interactions. I did love the emotions that were portrayed for these characters and everything. And like I said before, as always with Ufotable, animation was beautiful, the music was beautiful, the action choreography was beautiful. That it definitely did make this anime look stunning and beautiful to watch. And the action, of course, is always just one of my favorite parts in a lot of things. And, you know, with these kind of animes, you have to look at the action as well as being one of the main factors. And the action was really well done. That at least kept you satisfied with that, even if the story wasn't as amazing as you really wanted, or at least I wanted, you know. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything missing you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy, don't forget to like. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. As always, guys, I want to hear you guys how you guys thought. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you enjoy the series overall? Anime watchers only, feel free to comment below how you thought. People who have played the game, feel free to comment below how you thought. And yeah, that's all I really gotta say, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed, and until next time, see ya.